in. I'll introduce who I've got here, and then I'll give you a few warnings about this particular what's going on in the background in my madhouse. Okay, but here's Enzo, of course, and we're here to sort of today. It's a normal live stream, but we're also here to talk about the event that I've got coming up in Virginia City in July. Fingers crossed. And I've got the beautiful Taylor Hamby here with me, so I'll talk about her a little bit more in a second. But first, let me just put it here. I have got a red-tailed black cockatoo, a pet, who is outside this window, waiting to be held and talked to by his owner, my daughter, and she's taking her time because she's dealing with a leaking fish tank in my lounge room, which is currently pouring water all over the floor. So she's trying to rescue the one fish I have in there. And then I've got other birds in the lounge room that are also being silly and making noise. So apologies at the beginning if you hear a squeaky bird or more squeaky birds. And I've got two dogs in here. Of course, you're familiar with the little Chihuahua, but I've also got hidden on the floor here behind me, my Rottweiler, but you can't see her because the floor's dark and so is she. So there you go. That's what's happening. So if I seem a bit stressed, that's all right. That's a lot. Oh, someone go, Tuber Chat. Kevin, thank you. And thank you for sharing this out on Reddit as well, Kevin. Awesome. And since you gave a gift, Taylor, before I get into this is something I do. If someone gives me a gift, they get, he gifted a membership, didn't he? So let's see. Here we go. Dancing for you, Kevin. Yeah. Oh, I'll do it again. Sorry, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. That's awesome. All righty then. So I'll just have a quick look and see who's here. All the early people, the ones that are Betty. Hello, Betty Hanks, Sarah, and Kevin, who just gifted a membership. I'm not sure who the lucky person was that got that. You can shout out and I'll play you a new member video later. Tanya, hello. And I owe a few people that have given me a super thanks on a video, which was Sky Talker, and I'll have to look back. Someone else gifted a membership, but anyway, I'm going to play it all, and you can remind me who you are because you did it when we weren't live. So I know Sky Talker was one, but someone else did it. So please remind me, and I will acknowledge because it was so cute. Kim, Raven, Julie, Kiba. Did I say hello, Tanya? Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Abandoned and Forgotten Whales. Ooh, Abandoned and Forgotten Whales, for anybody who doesn't know, go over to his channel. You can share it. You can share your channels here by doing, wait on, let me put that up. I'm so not organized. Hang on, there we go. See that little banner at the bottom of the thing, guys? You can share your channel on that, because Abandoned and Forgotten Whales, he goes into caves, Enzo and Taylor. He goes into, I don't know how he does it, but he'll be live and he goes into caves in Wales, I guess. And you wouldn't get me in there. It's kind of like looking at abandoned, well, maybe they are. They're caves, but they also look like mine shafts. You know how well, of course, you know what tunnels look like, Taylor, being at the Sutro. But yeah, so, but yeah. Anyway, I'll introduce you. You all know Enzo, the eye candy and comedy relief. My co-host. I love him dearly. But Taylor. So I'll tell you about Taylor. Some of you have met her before because Taylor has been on a couple of times with me, haven't you, Taylor? And I did put her in one of my episodes as well about the Sutro Tunnel. If you ever want to go and check that out, I got told by Taylor, who works at the Sutro Tunnel, that they enjoyed my video on the history of the tunnel. So that was a compliment. But yeah, so Taylor works at the Sutro Tunnel, and she also works at the Fourth Ward School. And Sutro Tunnel is sponsoring the event that we're putting on in July, as is Spirited. What are they called again? I've gone blank because it's not in front of me. Spirited
Investigations. They are they run our paranormal investigations at our Citro Tunnel in Ghost Town.
I should know that off the top of my head, but I'm stressed about my leaking fish tank. But yeah, and I did put a link up on my Facebook page the other day about an event that's going on in April at the Sutro in regard to the paranormal with spirited investigations. So go to the Facebook page and check that out. But yeah, so Taylor's coming along to the event with us all. And Taylor is going to be there for you all to ask questions and all that sort of thing. But she's also going to give a little talk. And I don't know if you decided what you're going to talk about yet, Taylor. I haven't. I've still got so many ideas in my head. I'm not sure, but I've got a kind of idea of what you might talk about. But what do you reckon? Have you decided yet?
How would you know? Yeah. Well, one of my favorite things to talk about is two very interesting people who lived in Virginia City in the late 1940s to the 1970s. And they are just endlessly fascinating. And I love sharing stories about them because I can tell you facts about them and you go, what? And then I can do it over and over and over and over again because they just lived amazingly fascinating lives. So they ran our newspaper in town. Their name was Lucius Beebe and Charles Clegg. And so I'm going to share just one segment of their very interesting life running the Territorial Enterprise newspaper, which back in the 1860s is where Mark Twain first got his start as a reporter and first signed his name using his famous pen name, Mark Twain. It was the first place he used it. That was the Territorial Enterprise. Then fast forward almost 100 years later, and it was a great new chapter to this great newspaper, the Territorial Enterprise. So we're going to focus on the 1950s to the 1970s newspaper.
It'll be amazing. Awesome. It'll be awesome. Were you going to say something, Genzo? No?
That sounds amazing. I love learning history like that. That long ago.
And it was actually Taylor who introduced me to Lucius Beebe, and I was just like looking at him and his life. He was an entrepreneur, like he was a smart man, also responsible for a few tall tales told in Virginia City, but Absolutely. It was all about back then. It was all about getting people to Virginia City, and I guess they didn't know, so they just sensationalized things. It worked. It worked. Plenty of people came, but I would have loved to have been in Virginia City in that time era. Like when you look back at all the old photos and everything, and him on the train, and he had a beautiful dog, T-Bone. That was his dog's name, wasn't it? See, I remembered that. A big, massive. Saint Bernard. Yes. He'd be in a lot of photos with them. But yeah, so that's probably what that's what Taylor's going to discuss. But Taylor knows so much about so much more within that town. So anyone who comes along to the event, Taylor will give that talk, but she'll be at the event. So anything else you want to ask her about on the panel, for example, because Taylor knows a lot about the Sutro Tunnel and the true history, not the Ghost Adventures history. Although the Ghost Adventures history was, I think they need better researchers, Taylor. They should have hired me.
Agreed.
But and about all the different buildings that are on the Sutro site, the buildings that are no longer on the Sutro site, like so much about the Sutro Tunnel is fascinating. And if you can't get to the event, but you are in Carson City or Dayton or Virginia City, you're there on a holiday or whatever, try and get down to the Sutro Tunnel and have a look, because you look at pictures, but unless you're standing in front of it, and they've done so much beautiful work on that tunnel. Like that tunnel was, you couldn't even walk in it, could you? It was a mess. And now you can walk into a certain point and they're just doing a beautiful restorative job on it. It just looks fascinating. It'd be beautiful and wonderful if they could one day finally get all the way back up to Virginia City, wouldn't it?
That would be wonderful. Yeah, we could ride on the rail tracks all the way 3.88 miles underground and come up a shaft in Virginia City, just like Ulysses S. Grant did and all these other interesting historic figures did before us. That would just be so fun, so amazing.
Ian, are you joking that you've never heard of Mark Twain? Is that a joke? I hope it's not. Mark Twain, you know, Huckleberry Finn. Well, Huckleberry Finn's the biggest one I know. What's the other one?
Tom Sawyer. Roughing It is all about his time in Nevada. A significant portion is based in Virginia City. That's a good one.
He wrote a good ghost story too, but it was only a short one from memory. And let me think. I think I'm remembering correctly. I'm pretty sure it was a ghost story. So it's just a short one. Something about a body. Oh, I'd have to go. I remember now there was like a mummified body that used to be kept on show. And in the story that I'm remembering, it was a story about a tap, tap, tap on the door and annoyances. And it was this body visiting in ghost form. And it was like, yeah, it's a story. It's like it didn't happen. Don't worry. There was no ghostly body finding Mark Twain or whatever and scaring him in the Silver Queen. It was just a story.
He also did A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, which is a favorite of mine too.
That's one of my favorites. The movie was a favorite of mine too.
Yeah, so that story that you're referencing, Karen, was originally published in the Territorial Enterprise newspaper when he was a reporter.
That might have been why I found it when I was researching. So, hang on. Someone wants to stop it. You two, stop it. Someone wants to say hello. Are you ready with that bell?
Always.
You want to get up on the desk. I think, don't flash my boobs at everybody. No one wants to see that. Sit down. Sit down.
That's right. Just act normally. It'll be fine.
So there you go. Fix myself up. So again, apologies for the squeaking birds. I've moved where I was to, which was a little quieter, I guess, where I was up in the garage, but I'm in my room now, which is more comfortable for me. But for a live stream at this hour of the morning, oh gosh. Oh, hang on. Where are we? Oh, good morning. Good evening. Good evening, Mythos Paranormal. I must have. Did I miss something else? Because but yeah, Mythos has got a channel, Taylor, and he's. I wouldn't call him a debunker. He does, but he's more about sort of, he looks into different things, watches things like I don't know. Explain yourself, Mythos, and what your channel's all about. Feel free to. I should get him on my 5 haunting questions. That would be even better. Let's see. Diabolical Betty, hello. Now, I did invite some other people along today, but where they are, I do not know. We'll find out. Janice Oberding did say she would come along, but I do know sometimes she has a little bit of trouble with the technology of it all, so we'll see. And who else did I say I invited? Oh, my gosh. There was Taylor, Janice. I did invite Dave Schrader. I invited everybody except for Joe Curtis because he doesn't have a computer.
He has a computer, but yes, maybe one day we can set one of these up where I'll go turn on the webcam.
Yeah, because
we can do it together.
Joe Curtis is another person coming along which was a score for
Absolutely. Me. I did a little dance when I saw he was added on the bill.
So people won't know who he is because you don't come from Virginia City, but I have had a talk with him via letter writing on emails, and I'm extremely impatient because I can't wait till I get to meet him and have a talk with him off the record to see what I can put on the record. But he did tell me a story that his mother and another group of ladies, a committee was put together. I can't remember what year he said it was, Taylor, but I'm thinking the end of the early 50s. So they put a committee together because a lot of everything was dwindling a bit in Virginia City. They wanted to entice more people to come along, so they came up with a whole heap of tall tales. And a lot of the tall tales have become, if you do a tour of any ghost place in Virginia City or whatever, a lot of those tall tales that are absolutely made up have remained, and people tell them as if they're real. So I can't wait to meet him and find out if my theories and my best guesses onto what I reckon is a load of cogwash, I don't know, cogwash, whatever you call it. I can't wait to meet him. So he's got, and he's an historian, so he knows. I don't think there'd be much that he doesn't know about Virginia City. Honestly, he grew up there. He was born there, grew up there. He's, so there you go. Yeah. So hang on, I'll just see. Is any? Sorry, because I am talking, people, and I'm being very naughty. I can see everyone saying hello to Mythos. I can see Rawside Paranormal's here and Sarah. And I really do want to get a romper room mirror. I can see Mythos.
Never said my name. I hated that.
Yeah, she never said my name. You're too young to know what romper room is, aren't you, Taylor? Are you too young?
Well, I get that a lot, that I'm too young to know about a lot of things. But actually, most of what I'm interested in took place, 1960s and earlier, right?
Oh, well, then you would know romper room.
I don't know romper room.
She's a historian. She knows all about that old stuff that we did as children.
Yeah.
Now it's history. Now it's in a museum.
Yeah. I reckon I could, if the world
we should be too.
Yeah, if the world was falling apart and anyone said pick one person, and sorry, Enzo, I love you, but if someone said, right, the world's falling apart, you can't pick your kids, but you can pick one other human to be stranded in an ancient museum or in the Museum of New York or anywhere, or even in Virginia City, who would you pick? I'd have to pick Taylor and her dog Leica and my dogs. But because Taylor, you can have a conversation with Taylor and go, oh, what's blah, 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 blah. And Taylor just, boom, out it comes. She knows everything. And what she doesn't know, she'll research. So, but yeah, even we're going to do, for the event, we're also going to do a tour of the 4th Ward School, which I think I've already set up, haven't I? I think so. I'm pretty sure I wrote to the right person and said it. If not, I'm talking to the right person here anyway. She can double check. But we're going to do a tour of the 4th Ward School. And the 4th Ward School, that in itself, and Taylor can correct me. I'll tell you what I know, and then Taylor can go, yeah, nah, that's right or wrong. But originally in that part of town, so the Great Fire came through Virginia City in 1875, I think, and that's where there's a bit of discrepancy. I'm going to strangle my bird. Sorry, guys. It's really loud. It's for anyone who knows birds. It's an Indian ringneck, and that
You're going to wring its neck any second now, I feel. It's,
oh, yeah, that's why they call it that, huh?
Yeah, wring its neck. Yeah. It wants attention, and I'm not giving it any. So.
Chicken for dinner tonight, then.
Yeah, Indian ring neck for dinner. Hey, Kenny. So what was I saying? Oh, yes, 4th Ward School. Originally, there was a hotel there called the Globe, and it burnt down. Now, I'm not 100% sure, Taylor may know, did it burn down in the Great Fire, or was it another fire associated with, I think it was a Great Fire, but I'm not sure. I don't know how the Great Fire got down to that part of town. So
that's a great question. And usually most people do assume it was in the Great Fire. Virginia City had many fires, but it's understandable why people think it burned in the Great Fire, because the fire that did burn it down was just a few months after the Great Fire. The Great Fire of 1875 took out a significant portion of the town, especially on the north end. It didn't go as far as the 4th Ward, however, but that was October 1875, and just a few months later, then the Globe burned down in its own fire.
Yeah. So I have researched. I don't know what Taylor will be able to tell me here, but in my research, I couldn't find in the papers I was looking at and stuff, I couldn't find anybody died in that fire. It seems that they got out. So I don't think there's any death on that particular site due to the fire with Globe. I don't think. Or is there, Taylor?
There's none
sure
that I'm aware of. I've not been able to find any documentation either. Not saying it doesn't exist, but I've not heard of anyone that perished in that.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, so that was good. But then they wanted to build the school, so that parcel of land was available, and they built the school. So the school now stands there. Then in the, I want to say the 80s. This is all off the top of my head from memory. I want to say it was the 80s when they were starting to get some money together to renovate and fix up the building, that they realised that there was an archway underneath. I think they might have, there was an archway, and within the archway was actually remnants of the Globe Hotel. So everything had to stop, and they had to get what they could out of there. And sort of, there's a word for it, isn't there, Taylor? And it's escaping my mind at the moment. They got some artifacts out of there from the Globe, and then sealed it back up and then continued on with the works. And today, if you go to Virginia City and have a look at the Fourth Ward School, it is pristine. It's just beautifully kept. It really is. So definitely worth a look. So far as ghosts are concerned, I'll leave that all up to you guys when you get a tour of the Fourth Ward School. I've heard varying stories about a teacher that wanders around outside, but I could find no evidence of any teacher who ever died. I could find plenty of evidence of some really interesting girls, though, teachers that were there. And of course, Taylor will tell you, back in the day, you couldn't be a married woman if you were a teacher. You had to be, young and because you whatever. But yeah, I don't know. There's no, so far as people dying there, though, I don't think anyone ever has, have they? Unless someone fell down the stairs. but that'd be about it.
I have read a newspaper account of someone collapsing on the stairs, not because of the stairs. I think they were just ill anyway. And then that happened to be like kind of like near our entrance stairway area, from outside to inside. And that was around the turn of the century. And I know that a parade was going on at the same time that article had mentioned. So that's the only person that I know that perished on premises or on the
stairs.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go, folks. Straight from the horse's mouth.
There may be others, but that's the one I've been able to find.
And I couldn't find, and I have tried to the point where I'm exhausted by reading newspaper. And I've actually I've got 3 screens here, so I'm looking at some other screens. I've been researching the Mackey Mansion again, because I wanted to find out a little bit more about the actual men that lived in the house. The amazing amount of misinformation on web pages, not the newspapers, and certainly not there's a university page I go to as well. If I got it open up, I don't think I have. But the archives, the University of Nevada archives and things like that. But there's some web pages. So you type in the Mackey Mansion history book, up comes a web page, and you'll read it, and it'll say, Mr. Mackey lived there with his family for 20 years and blah, blah, blah. And I'll go, no, he didn't. Here's my French. No, he didn't. And then they'll say, and this happened and that happened. That's why I can't wait to talk to Joe. And then there is a story you get told when you visit the Mackey Mansion, and I hope I don't upset anybody with this, but it's also misinformation. But there's a story about, now this part's true. Men did die in the Gould and Curry mine shafts, okay? That did happen. There were fires, explosions, and men did die, and some of those men's bodies, rest their soul, are still in those mine shafts. They were unrecoverable, okay? But the actual mine shaft entry and there were two shafts. There was one right up the back of Virginia City, which was Gould and Curry. But the one that's in D Street, or was in D Street, it was nowhere. It was near Mackey Mansion, but not near Mackey Mansion. Like, you could see the entrance from Mackey Mansion windows, but it wasn't like in the backyard of the Mackey Mansion. It was in front of where the school now stands, actually. But in some of these stories told, one of the stories you get told is that is that a doggy being naughty? It is.
Sorry to interrupt. I had the door closed, but she must have known I was on the call with you.
She knows it's Karen.
She opened the door by herself.
Yeah.
And let herself
Oh, well, that's
in.
all right. She can open the door by herself.
She did.
Yeah. But so anyway, the mine shaft is there, and the men did die there. But you get told that the gazebo at the Mackey Mansion, one of the stories that you were told when you go on tour, is the gazebo is built over top of the shaft entrance, and it was covered up long ago, and that's why the gazebo is there, because there's men entombed below the gazebo.
Oh,
all right, not true. But that's okay, because there are men entombed there, but just a little bit further up the road. And in the 80s, it actually, there was, I'll put it all together in a thing, but so much. You need to watch things. Oh, look, Tanya gifted 5 Doof Doof Paranormal memberships. Tanya, thank you. All right, you know what you get, Tanya. Let me see. I've only got one gifting one, so we'll do that, and then I'll do a membership welcome. Okay, here we go. Dancing time. And I'll do my favorite. This is my favorite for the new members. You ready, guys?
Hey, Annabelle. Karen got some more members. Isn't that great?
Oh, wonderful. Chucky, come say welcome to the new members.
Hey, F you. Leave me alone, or you're toast.
Chucky, that's naughty.
I do like my Chucky doll. So I don't know. I went off topic a bit there, sort of. Brian's saying that he saw a documentary about all the tunnels and mines that crisscross underneath the entire US, and some of them looked ancient. Well, yeah, if you come to Virginia City, Virginia City is built on top of a honeycomb of mine shafts.
Can't wait to see them. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is to go down and check out the mines and all that. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Didn't they just recently find some new underground areas?
I'll let Taylor tell you that one. I know about it, but Taylor can talk.
Yeah, it's the article that I saw recently in the last couple of weeks. What they found essentially was, and I don't know why they say they found it, because I've looked in this space many times and I say, oh yeah, look, there it is. So it's not anything new. I mean, it's been basically on the corner, our main street in town is called C Street. And then one of the major cross streets is Taylor. So on one of the corners of C and Taylor Street was a historic building called the Black and Howell. It was many different buildings over the years, but it was a photo studio, it was a morgue, later on in the 50s and 60s, gift shops, etc. But unfortunately, it was torn down by the county in the 1980s because it was unstable and it was leaning into the buildings next to it. And so that lot where the Black and Howell one stood has been vacant since that time, since the 1980s. So you can see what they're referring to with the naked eye since then, really. But what it is basically the building, I believe, was 3 stories, possibly 2, but it went underground. You know, it had a basement or subterranean level to it. And so from there, you could access you can access underneath our boardwalks or our wooden streets that line our stores. Underground, you can go left, you can walk in and go left and right underground, but you can't go very far.
Do you think they were just using that for storage back in the day, or what was
I don't want to say specifically what they used it for, because I've heard so many different things and I haven't determined what they were actually used for. But some people are emphatic that it was used as access ways for, one of the legends is that our Chinese population were not allowed to walk on the street. I've not been able to verify that. I've heard people swear it's true. I've heard people swear it's not true. So instead, but the way the legend goes, instead they had to walk underground. It could have been used for a variety of things, transporting goods, maybe later on during Prohibition. That's maybe where you could.
That's kind of what I was thinking. It's like there's bootlegging going on there, I bet.
Yeah, but yeah, they're called access tunnels, or referred to as access tunnels sometimes. So sometimes it's for transporting goods or large amounts of money. Virginia City was the richest place on earth, so you didn't want to be walking around with big bags of money leaving the shop at night, right? So maybe underground would be a little safer. There's a variety of theories.
You're muted, Karen.
I'm trying to mute out the screaming birds. The history behind a lot of that stuff too. There's a lot. I'm still looking into it. Taylor's probably found the far way ahead of me on all that, but I'm still looking into the Chinese and their history there. I've come across a lot of photographs of the Chinese back in that timeline. And I sort of think, well, yeah, they definitely had Chinatown, and it was the same here in Australia. Anyone who knows Australian history around the mining times knows that it was segregation. Shameful, but it was as it was back then. That's how it was. So, yeah, it's sad to think that they would have been told not to walk the streets. However, if you look at a lot of old photographs, not necessarily of Virginia City, you often see them integrating, like they've got their. So I don't know if that's true, to be honest. I don't think. I think they still had to buy things and go places, and I can't imagine them being told to walk down a tunnel. It sounds weird.
That sounds like something that you would see on Bonanza. That was a Bonanza episode, I think.
Yeah, but even in Bonanza, you probably saw a little Chinaman with his little wagon or something. So
yeah, Top Sing, yeah.
Exactly. Top Sing worked with those guys.
Yeah, and I still want to. I haven't gone down this trail yet either, but I'm intrigued too. So when I come back to Virginia City, I want to try and find people who know things. like know things. Like, hey, mafiosa. I want to find out, because I know that Capone had a little bit of input into Virginia City during Prohibition times. I'm aware that the Union Hotel, that story that you found, Taylor, on the pretend death of the fellow, I've forgotten his name now. What was his name?
His name was, he went by Bronco Lazzari. His real name was Nello Frank Lazzari, but he went by Bronco.
Yeah. And there was a big newspaper story back in the day that was fabricated on purpose. And Taylor's partner, Peter, his mother, did some artwork for the article that showed Bronco laying dead on the ground with being pierced by, I think, the horn. From memory, I'm going by memory, but the horn of a thing that you hang on your wall, you kill it and put its head up. A deer.
Yes, deer. Yeah, he did have a taxidermy deer in the Union Brewery, and that's what the story said, that it fell off the wall and impaled him. And so this great cut art that Zaire Andrus made in the 1940s for it is just, it's gruesome but cartoonish at the same time. It's this great illustration of him just in a pool of blood and pierced through the back with a horn, and
But that story went around and everyone's like, oh my God, he's dead, but he wasn't. I don't know what possessed them to write that story, but it was like, he wasn't dead. He was in on it. It was just this big story that got published in the paper. I'd love to know why. But yeah. So the Union Hotel has a pretty good history, a big history, really. But so do all the buildings. Yeah, so do all the buildings in Virginia City. I'm just going to check if I'm missing anybody's questions, and if I've not said hello to you, you can get upset with me later. All right. I see Diabolical Debbie's there. Lisa says, These stories always scared me, Brian, because we lived in a city on Lake Superior. Lots of ships stopped there. I was a scared little child. Oh, what's Brian? Is Brian telling bloody scary stories in the chat, is he? Oh, the Shanghai tunnels. Yeah. Where they kidnapped people into slavery. Look, I don't think you had to be in a tunnel to get kidnapped into anything, really, but I know what the Shanghai tunnels are. I've heard that tale. There you go. I'm just checking if anyone's got any questions. If anyone's got any questions for Taylor about Virginia City, Sutro Tunnel, Fourth Ward School, do ask, or Lucius Beebe. Like, there's so much. So I think the whole idea about this event in July is that people come to it, you're going to learn a hell of a lot more about Virginia City than you've ever really known, and you'll get the facts as we know, and not BS. There'll be no bullshit stories told at my event, okay? And I might get some people offside. Who knows? Because honestly, some of the places in town do thrive in some ways from the false stories told. But the sad fact of the matter is they don't really need to tell those false stories. They can tell the truth, and it's
amazing. The regular history is great.
Yeah, it's far more fascinating than the lies made up. And maybe in defense of the people who tell the lies, maybe because those lies were fabricated back when they think it's the truth because they've not researched past, well, where did that come from? They've just taken it as gospel because their mum told them or their uncle or whatever. But it's kind of embarrassing when I meet people who say they've been to some of these places, and generally they're, empaths or mediums or whatever. And I feel so embarrassed for them, and I bite my tongue and I try to be very polite, but they often tell me that they were in contact with a particular entity, spirit, what have you, in these places they've gone to. And I think, oh my God,
oh boy,
it couldn't have been, because that's a BS story. That never happened. So, yeah, it's embarrassing really when I hear people tell me stuff like that, but I can't say anything to the individuals because I don't want to insult them. But then on the other hand, I think, well, that's probably telling me then that you're not really a medium. You just think you are. No offense. But I don't know. That's just how I feel. I think if you're a medium, you should know who you're talking to, one would expect. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And I'm entitled to it, okay?
Well, there's an interesting element to that because obviously I'm a purist, and like you both said, the true history is so mind-blowingly amazing and fascinating that there's a case that why fabricate, why make it up, why not tell the true thing. On the other hand, there's two factors here. One is Virginia City is a town of tall tales and always has been, right? So Mark Twain, Dan DeQuille, all these great writers that were at the various newspapers around here, the Territorial Enterprise and others, that's what they did. I mean, Karen, you earlier today you talked about a tall tale that Mark Twain wrote and published in the Enterprise, right? As he wrote it as fact and put it out there. So there is some of that element that it's a proud tradition going back to 1859 probably, or longer. And then on the other hand, and I won't talk too much about this because I don't want to step on Ron James's toes. Ron James is a Comstock and Nevada history writer and researcher and a real powerhouse of history as well. And he wrote a really cool book that just came out late last year, just a few months ago, called Monumental Lies, and it's all about lies of Nevada, or folklore of Nevada, and legends and lore. And he kind of makes a really good case for this being a tradition. Folklore is not necessarily meant to be taken as fact, but maybe just to represent the time and place and people, where it started, and they still have a place, but they shouldn't be presented as truth, right?
Right. I've always enjoyed a well-told tale, even if it's not true. It's just amazing if someone can, lay that groundwork for the story and all that, so that you get sucked into it when someone's talented like that and they can bring in there. So I understand how people can get confused and things like that. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think coming at it from a historical thing, you want to know the truth. To history, you want to where people have done so many things in their lifetime and passed away, and they're just forgotten. And there's only a few people throughout history that continue. Usually, people with money. Usually, people with a lot of money. Their memories are sort of kept alive because they've either, like Mackie, Sutro, those sorts of people. They've contributed to the growth of the city, etc. So. They're remembered, but then the little people who also contributed and were so special in their own little way are forgotten. And that's sad. That's why I love history. And even going through it, Taylor will understand this, maybe even Enzo, if you've read anything, when you're researching for something. I've been looking for information on the superintendents from the Mackie Mansion, who lived there, who they were, etc. I found a lot of it, and not all of it, but I'll read through the old newspaper clippings, and I'll glance at different clippings, and it'll be absolutely nothing to do with what I'm looking at. It'll just be a random little, paragraph about somebody who so-and-so died today in his bed of whatever, and much loved, or they don't usually use that word. What's the word? A well-liked person around town or whatever. And they write this stuff, and there'll be this little obit about this person who nobody really knows who the hell they are because they're gone. But then I'll find that little person, and I'll go to find a grave, or I'll go and I'll try my best to find out more about that person. And that's what I'm finding is happening at the moment while I'm trying to put the superintendent's stories together. I'm finding names that were associated with the Gordon Curry mine, but forgotten, quite obviously. But like one fellow, they were brothers, the Jannon brothers, they were mining experts. So they came to Virginia City to give guidance and on how to do different things around the mines to the bigger mine companies. They were really rich, lived in San Francisco, but did stay in Virginia City while they were doing what they were doing. But I thought, oh, who are these boys? And then the more I went down it, one boy died. They were young men, but they died. One died early, just in his sleep, probably a heart attack. And the other one went into a mental institution because he lost his mind. And I'm like, oh, my God, I didn't know all this. So history to me is fascinating. And it can be, these people can be brought to life again and remembered. Whereas the pretend stories, the lies, are good as well, folklore-wise. I have a good laugh and stuff. But it just, to me, takes away from the real people that work so bloody hard and died in some of these places to make their little couple of dollars a week, and they're kind of forgotten. And so from a historical point of view, that's how I look at it. But from a paranormal point of view, that's where I find the false stories are harmful, because for the paranormal people, we want to go in and we want to find out what's out there. Like, are you still here? And if you're still here, why are you still here? But if we're talking to someone, if we're not addressing the person who's actually there, it's a sham. It's kind of like you're going in there, you're being told by people, oh, Mary Jane lives in this building. She fell down the stairs and broke her neck. And then there was never a Mary Jane. No one ever fell down the stairs and broke their neck. But there you are as a paranormal investigator making an absolute dill out of yourself, trying to talk to Mary Jane who fell down and broke her legs. Oh, look, she said broken. The app says broken. Oh, my God. Do you know what I mean? And paranormal investigators can look like absolute idiots because they're listening to the BS stories. So that's why I encourage paranormal investigators to research where they're going. Find out the actual history, the true history of the people who live there. Don't go by the stories being told by the owners, because part and parcel might be a bit true, but most of it could be a whole load of rubbish. And then you're making yourself look like a ding-dong. And that's me being polite. Dear. Am I missing anything in the chat?
So Taylor, is there a particular point? You've studied the history, of course, of Virginia City quite extensively. Was there any little like factoid or something like that you came across, like, what, that happened here?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
It's insane. It just never ends. And Karen was so kind to say earlier that I know everything about Virginia City, but I don't, and nor do I want to, because the fun part is the joy of learning something new and discovering and having your mind blown again, right? It's constant. I mean, just a few days ago, I was looking through some declassified documents that were declassified and published by the U.S. government, some from the FBI, some from the CIA, and I just go, oh, I wonder what Virginia City's in here, right? And it was just a treasure trove that I'm still wading through. So, like, a couple facts that came to mind, like in Karen, this one's for you because I thought of you when I saw this. I go, what? Yeah, in 1935, the FBI was looking into this famous kidnapping case that I'd never heard of, but I guess it was mob connected. And so in these special reports submitted by these secret agents, in their dispatches back to the office, they write about how they went to Reno and they heard that, what they had found was basically that, Reno is where all these mobsters and gangsters go to cool their heels. And I guess this guy who was current at that time imprisoned in Alcatraz, I guess, prior had been involved in this case where they get in a fight with someone in Reno and take him up to Virginia City, take him on the outskirts of town, shoot him and bury him in a shallow grave. And I'm like, what? Little old Virginia City, so just that was the most recent one, but there's so many things. I think the Mackey Mansion, going to them, I took their tour, and it was fascinating to learn that that's before Mackey owned it. That's where William Randolph Hearst got his fortune and then sold it to John Mackey. William Randolph Hearst George Hearst, rather, the father of William Randolph Hearst, the dynasty of the Hearst newspaper fortune. His son later went on to be the inspiration for Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, and it's like, wow, this man made his money right here in his family dynasty, just a couple blocks away from my house. Weird.
I know, and that's so when there's a story when they sold the Mackey Mansion in 1953, when it was sold. The last superintendent that lived there, he purchased that home. He didn't die there. He died in Karen, where did he die? Well, anyway, he didn't die in the Mackey Mansion. He moved away. I think he was probably in a nursing home because he broke his hip, and he didn't break his hip in the Mackey Mansion. But it was always the Gould and Curry office up until 1953 when it was sold, and then the new owner moved in, and he's the one that renamed it the Mackey Mansion. But it's really funny because John Mackey, he did live there for a short time, and it was due to convenience more than anything, because his house that was on the corner, and I can't remember, it burnt down in the Great Fire. Then he got rooms at the International Hotel, and he had a whole floor, is my understanding of the International Hotel. I mean, he was a millionaire, but then of course that burnt down. So, but it was after his house burnt down that he moved in to the Mackey Mansion, and then he moved back out into the International, and that burnt down. And from my understanding, he would spend time back and forward. When he was in town, he'd stay at the Mackie, but he didn't really live there. His family certainly never did. The kids, etc., never did. He lived a bachelor's life, they said, even though he was married. But yeah, so there's some interesting things. So I always wonder why they bothered calling it the Mackie Mansion after they purchased it. I would have just left it as the Gould and Curry mine office. But I suppose the Mackie Mansion sounds more grandiose. But there you go. I'm glad I said all that without my mute button on. But yeah, you just keep finding it's the history of that town. You just keep finding more and more and more, and that's where I don't know where Janice is. I hope she's watching. She's probably maybe I don't know. She's probably forgotten. It's Saturday. No, it's Easter. What is it? Where you are?
It's Saturday, but yeah, tomorrow's Easter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Easter Sunday here where I am, but it's morning. So it must be Saturday night in the UK and Saturday afternoon for you. So that's good. I haven't made you come out on Easter Sunday. But there you go. Let's see. Oh, these bloody birds. Chat. I'll tell you what, chat, there's going to be a Q&A after this. There's going to be a quiz. So I hope you're paying attention and not just talking about scary movies. Do you see how I go crook at the chat?
If we want to talk about movies in Virginia City, we could. There's a few movies that were made here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what are the movies? Yes, everybody, listen to this. Because and made some made nearby too, but I'll let Taylor tell what she knows, and then I'll chime in when I think I know something else.
Yeah, so just keeping with the scary movie. This is I don't know. It's kind of scary when I watch it. It's a little out there. Is Dead Man with Johnny Depp. Was filmed here in the early 1990s. I think that was a Jim Jarmusch film, and it's all black and white, and a lot of the early scenes. So the first scene is on the train, right, where Crispin Glover is like the fireman and sits across, the train fireman sits across from Johnny Depp's character. So that's all filmed on the Virginia and Truckee Railroad, which is our pride and glory train here in Virginia City and the surrounding cities. And then a lot of the early scenes where you see this big machinery and stamps mills running and, all this like huge industrial scenes, those were filmed in our mines here. I believe those were just in Gold Hill, which is just adjacent to Virginia City. And so then while Johnny Depp was filming, he happened to stay at the Mackie Mansion. And Karen, I think you know that story if you want to tell what was said to have happened. But when you go take a tour, you can see a picture of Johnny Depp standing out front, in front of the building. Oh, Karen, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm saving you from the dreadful bird noise. Now that I know a lot more about Johnny Depp, I take this story a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. But the story is that he was sleeping upstairs in one of the rooms. I believe it was Mr. Mackey's room he was asleep in. And he awoke to a little girl that was jumping up and down on the bed, I believe, and it scared the absolute crap out of him. So I do believe that he didn't want to stay in there again after that. However, as I say, knowing more about what Johnny was up to back in the day, he was who God knows what he had taken to get to sleep. So I put that down as possibly a dream.
Certainly, after the Amber Heard stories, that's not the worst thing that's been in that bed. So.
Oh, Johnny's all right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it can always get worse.
Yeah, but the interesting thing also about the tale of a little girl in that house, etc. I'm not saying there's not a ghost of a little girl in there somehow, some way, whatever, but there are no deaths of children at all in that house. So where the little girl is coming from, I don't know. There's tales of being Mackie's daughter, etc., but no. Mackie's children didn't die. Mrs. Mackie did have a daughter who passed away, but that was nothing to do with that house or even Virginia City. So far as that story with Johnny Depp, yeah, I reckon just maybe a little bit too much before bed.
Certainly could have been too many spirits, and he thought he saw spirits. Yeah,
but certainly the right place. But yeah, go ahead. Now I've interrupted. Go.
No. Yeah, so that was that. Then and since we're talking about horror movies, so this is it's classified as a horror movie because it's got a big movie monster in it, but it's definitely a B movie, right? It's something that you'd see on Mystery Science Theater or something like that. I think Riff Tracks did do their take on this. So anyway, in the 1970s, this artist from the Bay Area called Frederick Hobbs absolutely loved Virginia City and had been coming here for years. So he wrote a script based on some of these legends and tall tales that you hear around town. That was kind of his inspiration. But then he created his own, where it's called The God Monster of Indian Flats. And it's a giant, huge mutant sheep. And I won't tell you the origin. You'll just have to watch it. Yeah, mutant sheep based on some evil thing in the mind, and it lives in the mines of Virginia City, and it comes out and attacks kids. And there's this big scene where St. Mary's, which is now our art center, it's a beautiful, huge building, St. Mary's, but it was the hospital originally. So on the lawn of St. Mary's, the God Monster comes out and attacks the town children. And a lot of Virginia City locals were used as extras in it. And it's really it's a trip. I would suggest intoxication or inebriation for full enjoyment of it, because it gets pretty trippy.
Get drunk to watch a movie, although that happens a lot, doesn't it? Oh gosh. Hey, so Enzo, we know, but what are you most excited about the trip to Virginia City?
Well, of course, I said earlier, I really want to check those mines out. There's something fascinating to me about I come from my family's background working in coal mines in West Virginia. So not that mining's in my blood or anything like that. It's just like, how was life like, in those mines for, especially like way back then. There's something about it. I just want to go and check it out. I know there's a million other things to do there. That was actually going to be one of my questions for Taylor is, you're in town, they come and see the presentations. They're just going to be in there like the one night, like maybe a Saturday. What's the one thing they got to make sure that they see or check out in Virginia City?
Gosh, that's a tough question. And I love when people ask, and usually my first answer is, well, what are you interested in? Because if there's something that you're interested in, there's something really awesome for you. So it just kind of depends, because some people love to just do the saloon crawl. And my first few visits as an adult to Virginia City, that's certainly where I started, right? So if you're interested in a saloon crawl but still want to see a mine, you can get a 2-for-1 at our Ponderosa Saloon, which is the historic building for the Bank of California. So it still has the old bank vault in it, which is kind of cool, but it's got a bar and saloon in it. And then in the back is how you get into one of our 2 main underground mine tours in town. So you walk in, you can grab yourself a sarsaparilla or a Bloody Mary or whatever, and then when you're done, they'll put it in the fridge for you while you go do your tour, and you can come out and finish if you want. It's kind of fun. But yeah, you can go back and go underground, and it's about a half hour or so where you kind of see the Ponderosa mine, and you get a guided tour and hear about the technology they used, and you get a sense of like the conditions, and you kind of got to duck your head because it's really cramped, and you realize what people kind of worked in. And so that's kind of a cool one if you have just a little bit of time and kind of want to experience both. Oh, there's God Monster. Nice. There he is. Hi, cutie.
The God Monster of Indian Flats from 1973.
Nice.
Pull up a couple of pictures from the show. They've all lassoed up there.
Oh yeah, there's the finale. Oh, they're trying to take him down. There he is.
Profile shot. Oh, looks like a leg right there. What's going on?
So fun story. The costume for this, or the puppet, or I don't know how it was used, but this thing here, the God Monster, after the filming, one of the early scenes of the movie takes place in the Union Brewery Saloon in town. So for years, one of those costumes or models or puppets was sitting in the bar, and you could go and
get
drink with the God Monster. Oh yeah, there's this one scene.
I wonder whatever happened to that. Maybe it's
that's one of the mysteries I want to find out. I want to find the God Monster.
Oh, I might
turn into one of those. You got to rub its nose for luck or something like that.
Yeah.
I should. I'll get. Hang on. I'll get a screenshot of that, Enzo. Hang on. Go back to another one, Enzo. That one's no good. Hang on. Where are we going? Go away. Yeah. Keep that one there. Just a second. I've got a screenshot of that. I know many people. I'm just going to send a message to someone who has lived in the Union. Hang on. Jackie.
Something weird video presents. It's definitely weird. Oh, sexy shockers from the vault.
Oh, sexy. I haven't seen the sexy part yet in any of these pictures, but
when was the movie made again? It looks like what, the 60s?
This is available on
73.
Blu-ray someplace. That's funny.
This was recently reissued. And then another cool fact about this is one of the characters is inspired by my favorite person, Lucius Beebe. So they've got this kind of railroad baron type character, and he's got a top hat and tailcoat, and so anyway, that's inspired by Lucius Beebe, and I know that it has to be because this director, the artist Fred Hobbs, knew Beebe personally, and actually did a great illustration of him in a great book called Richest Place on Earth.
Who is that? Go back again. That actor looked familiar. Go next one. Back. Oh, the one with the black hat on. He looks. And the black actor too. Who's he? They both look awfully familiar. I'll have to do a cast thing. I reckon they still make movies. But there you go. Well, there you go. I've just sent a message off to people who may know to ask, do they know whatever happened to that costume? We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it's in the basement, or
who knows? Could be in the. Imagine going down to the basement of the Union Brewery and not knowing that story. There's a monster in the basement.
Yeah, that's what they do to the new guy.
What did Ian say? It looks like the bloater from The Last of Us.
It did kind of look like that. Certainly retaining water, at least. But
oh gosh, hi Ferry in the chat. Sorry about it. Now my dog, the Rottweiler, is behind me. I have no idea what she's saying. Muffin, come here. Muffin, come here. What are you doing? You're making a lot of noise. You can get on my bed. I'll be nice to you. No? I wish you could see her big face. You can't see it. You can't see her big face. She's a big, big boof. Yes. I reckon her and Leica would like each other. Oh, you know what I found out? Here I go. Squirrel time. Karen's going from one thing to the other. I found out. That's me. Yeah, that's me. Now I've gone. I've lost it. No, I haven't. The lady who passed away in the B Street apartment, Jerry. She was born on the 10th of January. With all the research I did, I never bothered looking at her birthday. I never paid attention to her birthday because I was concentrated on the day that she died. She's January 10th. There you go. So she must be wonderful because that's my birthday.
Wow. No wonder you had a fascination or connection with her.
Like I thought, oh my gosh, she had my birthday. So I don't think she hurt herself because I certainly wouldn't. So there you go. But you got to be... Yeah, go
ahead. Oh, I learned two things that you'll love to hear about Jerry.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, they'll make her even more endearing to you, especially. So I read in these 1950s territorial enterprises, they're really a great document of not only the 50s and 60s, but also before, because they reprinted old stories. But they wrote a lot about the people who lived in town, right? It was sort of this it was called Comstock vignettes, and they'd usually just do little paragraphs, right, and just say so and so did this and here, and it was usually a little funny story. So I learned that she had a pet skunk and a pet monkey. So I knew about the skunk, but I just found a little article about her pet monkey. How cool is that?
Oh, see, there's no way she would have done that to herself and left behind her pet skunk and monkey. Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't
Yeah,
that cool?
everything I've read about her, she seemed like a really nice lady. Like there's been lots of other things about her as well I've come across, and I just sort of think, so sad. And also so sad that for whatever reason after her demise, the memory of her was, what's the word I can use politely without stepping on relatives' toes. But let's just say Ruby did her very best to put forward that just basically Jerry never existed. And I don't like that. And that's what happened. Like, you know, for people who want to know, the painting in the Silver Queen is 100% a painting of Jerry. It is not 100% a painting of Ruby, okay? Jerry existed and was married to Carol, and that painting she had commissioned, and what's his name again? Stephen someone, isn't it?
That's Bob Richards, and he didn't like anyone knowing that he painted it, so you will not find that information anywhere. I got that information from his daughter. Yeah. So and Bob Richards' daughter is the girl who sort of does the pose. It was her pose that he took for the painting of Jerry. So a different daughter, but yes, one of his daughters. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That was
so I just find that's another reason I say to any paranormal investigator, Muffin, any paranormal investigator that goes.
It sounds like you live in the land of the lost. You've got all kinds of crazy things going on back there.
I know. I'm exhausted just trying to contain it all with the mute button. But yeah, Muffin, I'm telling a story and you're not helping. Sit. Thank you. I'll cuddle you then.
I put a link in the chat for anyone. I know in the U.S. you can see it for free. If you have Tubi, you can see the God Monster of Indian Flats there for free.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to have to look it up later. And I can't even remember. See, you've made me forget all about what I was saying about Jerry. Oh, that's right.
She's gone. Oh,
paranormal. Yeah. Yeah. Paranormal. When you go to the Silver Queen, do not look for a girl in a bathtub. See if you can talk out. I hope she's not there. I hope the spirit of Jerry has moved on. But if I were to think in any way, shape or form that hotel could hold the spirit of a woman, it would be Jerry, because I think she has unfinished tales to tell. And she likes squirrels and stuff and skunks and monkeys, and she was obviously an animal lover. So yeah, if you're ever in the Silver Queens, talk to Jerry, because she might like the company. Who knows? I hope she's not there. That's what upsets me about ghost stories, because you think of someone who's passed away in a terrible way, and you would hope that they're not. They're nowhere near the places that they passed. Do you know what I mean? But however the paranormal works, if it's to hold on to anything, I would pick it as being her more so than anybody else. But yeah, I think she was a nice lady. End of rant. If you can't tell, I like Jerry, okay? Okay, so I just asked somebody who said they had never seen it in the bar, but it was probably before their time. So there you go. I'm more interested is it in the attic, in the basement? Oh, they would have found it by now and probably just chucked, or maybe someone brought it, or maybe they just chucked it out in the end.
Well, last October, St. Mary's Arts Center did the 50th year anniversary of God Monster of Indian Flats. They did a weekend-long showing of it, but then also they put down a new exhibit about other artwork that Fred Hobbs made. He made several other films, but he also made lots of very unique and really out there sculptures and things like that. And like you're saying, Karen, could have just been like tucked away or chucked out or something like that. So one of his sculptures was actually found, and it was in pieces. And Arica Perry, the director, and her team at St. Mary's actually restored this great sculpture. It's called the Aerobic Warrior, and it's this big blue man standing like this with all these draping feathers, and he's nude except for he's got real tennis shoes on, and he's sort of standing in this like chi Zen master sort of, I don't know, pose type thing. Or anyway, it's really a cool sculpture, and so they found it in this garage. It was donated to them to restore. They totally got him all in several pieces again. They restored his feathers, and so he was like kind of one of the big unveilings. So you never know what's going to turn up, and I hope the God Monster is still around somewhere. Oh, mute. Sound on.
You're still muted, my dear.
Yeah, because Muffin's going. Muffin, come here. Stop it. I don't understand. You've had the PPs, you've had the snack. You're not getting up on my knee. All right, you're too big. Tanya's just put a thing because I said about the bathtub. For those of you who have not seen my little episode on the death in the Silver Queen, the bathtub story, obviously I cannot say it never happened, but common sense tells you that it never happened because the Silver Queen, before the 90s, when the current owner, Connie, her dad, actually owned it, all right? But when he purchased it in the 90s, it was he who was responsible for putting the showers and the bathtubs, the plumbing, basically, to the rooms of the Silver Queen. He did that. Before that, there was communal bathrooms only, one on each level, which are now, you can still see the remnants of the doorways that have been bricked up, etc. And so room 11 is the room where apparently Mr. B, Mr. ZB, spoke to her. But let's just give him benefit of the doubt, because that's the story he was told. Like many of you other people watching this who go, oh, he's full of crap. A lot of people still go there to room 11 to talk to the girl in the bathtub, okay? That bathtub was never in room 11. If anyone was in room 11, they used the little basin and the jug. So unless she was a tiny, tiny, very small person who sat in her little basin and did away with herself, it never happened, okay? So I get really, really cranky. But so far as Mr. Zach talking to her in the bathtub, yes, apparently he did, but that was never there. So whoever he was talking to or whatever he felt, it wasn't her, because she never did. All right. And I get really cranky. And I don't like to take away from the Silver Queen, because I love the Silver Queen. I love Connie. I love everything about it. But the history of the Silver Queen, again, there are deaths in that hotel, which I put on my, if you go find my episode, you'll see who I'm talking about. There were deaths in the hotel, but not a girl in a bathtub. So if you go to the Silver Queen and you want to find a ghost, there's a few that you could probably try and talk to if they're still happening to be there, but certainly not the girl in the bathtub. Room 11, who knows? I mean, a ghost could walk anywhere. They walk through walls, don't they? Rant over. I just do. I get very passionate, and I just sort of think, because people pay money. They pay money to go and investigate a ghost that it's not that. But do go to the Silver Queen, because it's awesome, and do see if you can find the other ones that I've talked about. So there you go. That's all I'll say. There you go. Yep, totally a Karen rant, Catherine. That's right. I get very passionate. I think people can tell that. But there you go. All right, have I missed anyone? Is anyone asking any questions? But I'm a little disappointed that the others couldn't show up today. I will give Janice. I will give her a break, because I know she struggles with the computer to do it. So there you go. Oh dear.
Yeah, it'd be great to see her. Maybe another time would be wonderful. I know on Monday night she'll be doing a talk on spiritualism, and she's doing that at the historic Washoe Club, another paranormal destination here in Virginia City. So in the Washoe Club, she'll be doing that talk on Monday. So I look forward to going to that.
So if anybody is in the vicinity of Virginia City and the Washoe Club on Monday night, go check out Janice's little talk. She's talking about it's a subject about the women of Virginia City. So, and it's a great place for her to do a talk. So, from memory, I think you even get a drink with your entrance fee. I think they've changed that. I thought, geez, that's cheap. But there you go. But yeah, Janice knows an awful lot too. Taylor knows Janice. So I just think there's so many people that love Virginia City, and I think I've managed to get most of them in together, especially Joe Curtis and Taylor and Janice. And then I've got Dustin Parry from Ghost Adventures, Dustin Parry from Ghost Hunters. He's coming along, but Dustin, I've spoken to both Dustin and Dave Schrader, and they understand that the weekend's not really focusing on paranormal, but more so history. Having said that, the paranormal relies heavily on truth and history. It doesn't rely on the made-up stories. So they'll be talking about, obviously, some of the instances where history and tall tales have influenced what they do, and why they're in the field that they're in, and why they too feel the history of places is very important. So they'll be talking about that sort of stuff. Janice she did tell me what she was going to talk about. I've gone wishy-washy because I'm stressed. Animals, I do love them, but yeah. So everybody would be talking about something. I'm probably, because we are in the Piper's Opera House, which in itself is a little beacon of history in Virginia City. I'll probably talk a little bit about that, and I do want to talk about Maud Adams, the actress who also contributed to Virginia City greatly with money. She was a very rich, for that day and age, she was really rich. Like, she was a very well-known, famous actress. Played the first Peter Pan. She was the very first Peter Pan ever. In regard to playing Peter Pan. Disney wanted her to play Peter Pan, but she said, no, thank you very much. So there you go. But I'm going to talk about her and her life. And for those of you who don't know, but do like the movie, and I've spoken about this before, Somewhere in Time, the movie with Superman, Christopher Reeve, and
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah.
Who?
Sigourney Weaver. Or no, Sigourney Weaver. Medicine woman. What was her name?
Medicine. Yeah, I've gone blank too. She played.
I don't know why.
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
it's a very different movie.
Very different movie. But that movie is based on a book that was written because of the author, whose name escapes me. Taylor, you know it.
Oh gosh, I do know it, and darn it, it escapes me too. It's in my notes, but I know he wrote a really famous episode of The Twilight Zone as author, and he also wrote I Am Legend, and he wrote the episode of The Twilight Zone with William Shatner in the plane.
Oh, that one. Oh, the one with the thing on the...
It's wing. A man on the wing.
Kind of looks like the God Monster on the window.
That was a very good impersonation, Enzo. I'll remember that. But yeah, he visited Virginia City. He went to the Piper's Opera House. He was walking through, having a look, and he saw the portrait photo of Maud Adams. And from that, and being fascinated with her portrait photo, he wrote the story Somewhere in Time. And so there you go.
Right there in Piper's Opera House.
Yeah, right there. So that's where Maisie's saying I need to make a clip or an animation of music for a Karen rant. Yeah, but I'd be playing it every 5 seconds. It'd be
Richard Matheson is the name of the author.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
He wrote
So,
I Am Legend and Bid Time.
did you write I Am Legend?
Yeah, he
as
wrote
well?
that, and then the one with Robin Williams about the afterlife.
Oh yeah.
What Dreams May
What Dreams May Come. Yeah, he wrote that too.
Yeah, that was a weird movie.
I really liked that movie. I thought it was.
I did, but it was like, I really did like that movie. And for anyone who's lost anybody, it was actually a good movie to watch. But yeah, so there you go. Speaking of which, I often think of your daddy, John. I've got it. I'm not wearing it now, but I wear the medal and Stephen. I had a shower, so I took them off, but I wear them all the time now, together. So I'm protected. That's my protection pouch. I'm protected by John and Stephen, I reckon. So I actually make jokes about that, Taylor, that when I go into all of these haunted locations and nothing happens, that it's probably, well, now it'll be John's fault as well, but it's probably Stephen, because I wear that around and because that keeps me sane. It's probably my son. My son's probably what my shoulder. It's my protection pouch. It's like my protection thing. I don't need to wear a cross. I've got my son. I wouldn't wear a cross anyway.
In the ghostly world, you're walking in there with a couple of bruisers. They're like,
that's right. So the ghostly world, coming forward, there'll be Stephen and John. And so if anyone tries to miss me, so that's probably their fault that I don't get anything.
They're protecting you.
Probably the only reason I got the singing ghost is because it was polite and it was going to sing, and Stephen probably said, yeah, you're okay, you can sing. But I'm still worried about my singing ghost. I know that I caught it. I know what we heard. We heard it. It was there. There's the singing, and it's not an echo.
Very clear.
Very clear. But my problem with it is I was there with 3 other people, Jason, Cassie, and Ron. And although in the moment I turned and said, are you singing? Is that you? And no. I still wonder, because that's the only other explanation for that singing, that one of them did it and then didn't tell me they did it. Do you know what I mean? And I would find that very disappointing if they didn't tell me it was them. So therefore, it leads me to only one other conclusion, that it was what it was, but how the hell did that happen? And why did the singing ghost like my humming? And maybe that's the only reason it was allowed to hum, because Stephen said, oh, you're just going to sing? Yeah, okay, you can do that.
Whereas, like whistling through the graveyard kind of a thing. That's a pretty long, dark stretch of the old hospital there. So
yeah, the Waverly Hills. Yeah. So there you go. Oh, give me a second, guys. I'm just going to put Muffin outside. She's very upset. Enzo and Taylor can entertain you with a story for 5 seconds while I go and do this, okay?
2, 3.
I won't mute. You can hear the whole thing.
Okay.
Oh, boy. It's hard to tell what we're going to hear now. Oh, boy. But how often do you get groups that come in and they want to, like, hey, we want to go see this place, that place, and do investigations? I would imagine it's like practically every day, right?
Like paranormal investigations? Yeah. You know, ever since Ghost Adventures, which most people probably know, you know, their pilot was filmed primarily in Virginia City, and then they've come back several times, and then other shows started coming quite a bit. So ever since, you know, these paranormal shows over the last 20 so years have really taken to the Washoe Club, the Mackey Mansion, and then other places in Virginia City. Ever since, it's become a huge tourism draw. And I found that before I ever moved here, and I was telling people about Virginia City, if I was just talking to someone who, you know, wasn't interested in paranormal, a lot of the times I'd have to explain what it was. But in the people who were interested in paranormal, they go, oh, I want to go visit the Washoe, and I want to go see this. So it's a well-known place because of the paranormal, and that's been wonderful for us, that it's been, you know, bringing people to town who are interested and want to see it and want to experience it. So I'm sure, you know, at the Sutro Tunnel where we work, We do offer private tours that you can book in advance to investigate, but primarily we do paranormal tours once a month through the summer and late fall. So tonight is our first one of the season, actually. So I'll be heading there after this call and shortly after. So we'll have our first paranormal investigation and then one a month through October. And then the Fourth Ward School is really dedicated to the true history, and that is its focus. You know, when it was a school, it was an educational institution. It remains that as a museum. So we do not do paranormal investigations per se, because we just really want to focus on history and telling, you know, the true stories and focusing on, you know, what really happened and other things. However, this year we are starting the Northern Nevada Ghost Hunters are hosting 4 different events on Victorian era spiritualism and those techniques at the Fourth Ward School, and it's a fundraiser for the museum. So it's not a paranormal investigation, but it's more a look at the way that the Victorians interacted with the paranormal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the way the Victorian era did look at death was very different to how we look at it now. It happened so much. It was just an accepted part. It was a daily thing of life, very, very different. And then it's just changed over the years, where even became a thing once after, not so much when I was little, but getting a little bit older into my teens, it was like, oh, you don't talk about that. That'll upset so-and-so. So it became really weird for a while there. But I think we're kind of going back to the fact that it's better when someone passes to talk about them, continue to talk about them for as long as you can, and don't let their memory, and don't let the memory of those people go, because they meant something, you know. They did things, they meant things. And your dad made a great cup of tea, by the way.
Did he?
He did. Wow. He made me a cup of tea one day, and he didn't fail. He put the right amount of, milk, creamer. But yeah, no.
He was always very heavy-handed with his cream, so I'm glad you appreciated that. Yes,
because I'm heavy-handed with mine too. Yeah.
Well done.
I'm so sad that he's not there. Bugger it! How dare he?
I know.
But never mind.
That was so nice when you visited. You got to hang out
I'm
with
looking
them.
forward to having a sleepover with Taylor at her house, because she's got 3 dogs there. And last time I was there, I had a sleepover at Taylor's, and I slept on the couch or sofa with the 3 dogs. I was squished up. I was comfortable. Then Leica, who you saw before earlier, she jumped up, and Luke. And what's the little one's name again?
Murphy, One-Eyed Murphy.
One-Eyed Murphy, yeah, he jumped up, he was at my feet. Then later on, he moved up, and he was right near my face. And oh my God, I love those dogs. They're so cute.
It was quite a sight.
Yeah, he's pretty cute. So I'm looking forward to that.
They love you.
So much. And for anyone that does, if there is anyone in chat who is coming or can come to the Virginia City event, it's just going to be fun. Like, we're not going to go late. It's 9:00 finish. But early morning start. Like, I still haven't done the itinerary, because I'm not looking forward to it, because I've got so much happening in this event now that it's like, oh, how do I squish all that in? I said 9:00 finish, but that's okay. I'll fit it all in. I've actually had other people ask if they can speak, and I'm like, I can't. There's no room.
Next year.
Maybe next time. And another lovely thing that happened.
A good problem to have, actually.
It's a good. That's why I'm hoping tickets do sell, because it's going to be awesome. Like, this is going to be a really great event. But of course, it's costing a fortune to put on. So for going forward, if I ever do this again, Susan, who runs the Nevada State Prison, actually said to me next time, and I thought, oh, isn't that lovely that someone's actually saying next time? But next time, she said, use the prison. She said, it's huge. We can do it here. And I went, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, what an awesome, and then that way, you know, we could go and do something there, and maybe even talk about, although it's not in Virginia City, but do you know what I mean? Maybe we can talk about half the city, and then Dayton's just next door to Carson City, and we can talk about Sutro and do a little bit more about that. And it'd be easy to get to Sutro Tunnel, like just the whole, because Carson City, Virginia City is awesome. I love it. And I can lose myself in Virginia City. But Carson City I like. Reno I'm not such a fan of. Sorry if anyone's from Reno. Reno's just too, I don't know. And there's something about Reno I don't like. I probably would have liked it back in the day when it was just tiny. But Carson City, I don't mind. I like Carson City. I get a good feeling going to Carson City. Dayton's cute. It's just I've been to Dayton a few times, to the shops. I've been to the shops in Dayton. And Taylor, you might know, I'm going to go and try and find it again. My friend, Connie Small, you've met Connie, my little friend Connie, who works at the Silver Queen. She took me for a drive into Dayton one day, and she took me past a big lot. It was a huge lot of land, and it had all of the stuff from the show Bonanza, like old things that they used when they were filming the show Bonanza. It had something to do with the fellow who owned something to do with the Bonanza, not the Bonanza Hotel, but like when the show was being filmed. They must have used something, but he had so they must have come somewhere to film something, because he had this whole big backlot of stuff. I'm going to have to ask Connie about it again. I'll take people for a drive and show them that. But so much stuff.
I want to see
that.
that.
Sort of like a big dirt lot, but it's got kind of a chain link fence around it, but it's like huge, just like a city block size, and it's right next to, or I'm not sure if it's associated with or not. I don't want to speak, but it's right next door to the Dayton Historical Society Museum.
Oh, then you do know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but when you go there, you can actually reckon, like, there's old wagons and statues, and so props, basically props that they used to use when they were filming. And I'm like, oh, cool. But I couldn't, we were going somewhere, so it was like 5 minutes and looking at it. But there's just so much stuff.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go there. I've been to the Dayton Museum, which is wonderful. That's a great place to learn the local history.
Well, maybe we can go for a drive one day, Taylor. We'll go to the Dayton Museum and we'll have a look at that, and we'll get some lunch.
I'll go to Jay's Bistro or something like that.
See, this is what happens. I do so well when I'm home in Australia. I lose that weight, and then I get back to America, and I go to...
Come to America.
I'm going to be...
You'll have to buy a second seat for the trip home.
Yeah, just about. And it takes me almost a year to get rid of the second person I've brought home. I actually dreamt about...
Just in time to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, last night I actually dreamt about catching the plane and traveling to America. And I got to the airport, and I just took like a backpack, and I was sitting at the airport, but I realized I hadn't purchased my ticket. But I was at the airport. Oops. And someone's saying, well, what have you done? What have you done with your ticket? And I said, I haven't bought it. Well, you better buy it now then. Oh, okay. And then I went into my banking, and there wasn't enough money to buy the ticket. And I'm like, oh no. So the whole dream was me, oh no, I can't catch the plane. So it went from a dream to a nightmare.
That would be a nightmare, yes.
Yeah. But then I woke up, so it was okay. Kipper says that her parents live in Dayton. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Dayton's a cute little place. But I do like Carson City, and Carson City's got a part of it that's you drive down, and it's really nice. It's sort of at the base and comes down. It looks older, so I don't know how old, but there's lots of really nice places in Carson City. But I'm not talking about Carson City. I'm talking about Virginia City in July this year. Yeah, if you do live in America and you think that you would like to come along to the event and meet Taylor, because who wouldn't want to meet Taylor, and hug Enzo, because who wouldn't want to give Enzo a hug, and then Janice and Dustin Parry and Dave Schrader and Joe Curtis, Michael Gagliano and Mary Lynn Blast, they're coming as well, because they're Sidekicks Paranormal, but I think they've finished filming now, or they might have one more episode to film, but they've actually filmed a show and they had, oh God, what's his name? I've gone blank. Doesn't matter. But they had one of the boys that's known in the paranormal field doing all the production of it and stuff. And they've called it Para Not Normal. As in, that's the series name. Para Not Normal, because they're not normal. It's a comedy. It's not a comedy. It's like they're going to places.
I've gone Para Abnormal myself.
Para, yeah. I would have thought Para Abnormal would be better, because that's definitely Michael. But yeah, so it's more about how they go to these places and approach the investigations with respect, but also a slight amount of humor to it, because Michael, much like me, thinks that surely if you're a ghost, etc., you still want to have fun and have a bit of a laugh, you know. But there you go. Oh, Maithie's been a member for 2 months. Oh, I've totally forgot to tell everybody. Guess what happened yesterday, guys? Guess what happened? I got over 1,000 subscribers. I am now a proper YouTuber.
Milestone. Congrats. What's down here after that?
I think it's 1,070 or something like that, because I'm not on the YouTube, so I can't see. But there you go. I know. I'm a proper real YouTuber now. I'm over the 1,000 mark. But yeah, so but yeah, if anybody in here can think of getting, like, I know the tickets aren't cheap, but compared to a lot of other events, they're cheaper. And for what's happening on the weekend, that's why they're the price they are, because it's going to be super busy. So when you get to Virginia City on the Friday, you do whatever, check into your hotel, whatever, and you come on over to the Piper's Opera House, where you'll find myself and Enzo more than likely still fussing around trying. Enzo's going to give me a hand, just sort of setting things up, and I'm sure there'll be a whole ton of other people there helping me as well. Yeah, that'll be about it too. Oh, good work, Karen. But yeah, you come on over, you register, I give you your little tags and your goodie bag, which is slowly getting filled with lots of goodies. And then you register, whatever. There'll be some local people there that are going to set up some tables where they're going to have their local merchandise for sale, should you be interested. You can hang around if you want, but then at 6 o'clock it'll be dinner time. And we're going to eat at the Pipers, so there'll be tables set up, and that'll all be nice, and we'll have dinner, and you'll get to meet everybody, all the guests, everyone will mingle. There'll probably be a talk, because I've got to squish everything in now. There'll probably be a dinner time talk. So watch the space for that one, because originally it was just going to be a mingle and a sort of a bit of a dinner party, if you will. But I think we'll have a little talk as well, just whatever. Then when that finishes, the Northern Nevada Ghost Hunter people have kindly said that I'm paying for it, but it's okay. It's cheaper. Like, they're doing me a deal because they're sponsoring. If anybody is interested, only the people that are, you can choose to go up to the Donovan Mill, which is in Silver City, which is so Gold Hill is right basically around the corner from Virginia City down the hill, and then you go another, I don't know, a mile maybe to Silver. It's not far, and that's where the Donovan Mill is. So they're going to allow anybody who's interested in the paranormal to go on down to the Donovan Mill, and they'll do a group investigation there with anyone who's interested on the Friday and the Saturday night. So you don't have to rush and go on Friday. You can go on Saturday night if you want, or you can just simply hang out with Enzo, probably Taylor and Peter, her beautiful boy, her beautiful man. I shouldn't call him a boy. He's not a boy, he's a man, because yeah. But he's gorgeous. Peter's gorgeous. I can't wait to see Peter and give him a hug. But you'll be able to hang out with everybody. I highly doubt that I don't know. Dustin and Dave might be interested to go up and have a bit of a gander at the mill, but I've told Dustin and Dave that come 9 o'clock, they can go to bed if they want. It is late, and they're getting older. Yeah. And then Saturday morning,
hang out at the bar with me. That's where I'll be.
Yeah, there'll be people. So nobody has to go up and do the paranormal thing. They can let me know if they want to, and then that way that helps me with paying for it. But yeah, so you can do that if you want, or you can just simply hang out in town, because there's karaoke, there's the Red Dog, there's tons of places that you can go and hang out in Virginia City on the Friday and Saturday nights. And then Saturday morning will be come over to the Piper Opera House after you have breakfast, and we'll do some historical talks. That'll go to roughly, so that'll be Joe, Taylor, and Janice and me, if I can fit it in, unless I do something on the other night. Anyway, there'll be historical talks, okay? And that'll finish about lunchtime-ish, and then everyone can break for lunch and then go up to a Fourth Ward School and do a tour. I think I from memory, it was 2:00 or something. So go up to Fourth Ward School, do a tour, then go down to the Mackey Mansion and do a tour of the Mackey. So the afternoon will be spent looking at the Mackey and the Fourth Ward School. Then a little break, go to the loo, go have a shower, whatever, get dressed up and come back for dinner at the Piper's Opera House. And we'll have dinner again, and there'll be a panel where everybody that has spoken over the day will with the historical talks, but Dustin and Dave will give their presentations on the Saturday night. And again, off to the Donovan Mill when that all finishes if you want to, or you can just hang around with everybody that's at the event and go to the bar or whatever you want to do. Everyone will be there to have fun. And Sunday will be breakfast over, well, not breakfast, I'm not paying for breakfast, but I'll pay for a coffee. Everyone's going to get a coffee over at my favourite coffee house, the Roasting House. And we'll get a coffee there, and then we'll head up to the train station, and we're getting a ride on the steam train. And I know that Dustin Parry is definitely staying for that one because he loves trains. So, and it is Dustin Parry's birthday on the Friday, so we're going to have to get him a birthday cake and sing him happy birthday. So there you go. Lynn, I will look in my PayPal. Just give me a moment. Hang on, Lynn.
Look. Also had a gifted membership donated by Just Jason Keto and more.
Oh, look, people have to tell me stuff. Tanya?
You were in the middle of a story.
Enzo, all right, good, excellent. Hang on, but I better see what Lynn's done. Lucky I've got 3 screens. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Me. We really do need to have some kind of. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you, Lynn S. Thank you, gorgeous lady. All right, everybody's going to get their little things. All right. So, okay, and Jason from Just Jason Keto, he's got another good channel too. You've got tons of subscribers now too, Jason. That's pretty awesome. So Jason has gifted a Doof Doof Paranormal membership. So whoever got that, congratulations. And Linda has given me a donation on the PayPal as well. Awesome. Thank you. Yay. So let's go to our things. Let's see.
There was a question a little farther back from Maisie.
What was the question, Maisie? What did I miss? Hang on, I'll go back to comments.
She was asking where my favorite place to relax in Virginia City is.
Oh, yeah. Where is it?
Well, the honest answer is a place that's not open to the public, so that's not.
I think I know where it is.
I think you know where my happy place is in Virginia City. But typically, I love to relax by researching and going through old historic documents. So anywhere in town that I can do that, I do enjoy. But as far as if you're visiting, like if I was just visiting, where would I go to relax? There's something very relaxing about going to the Bucket of Blood Saloon because it's got this great big window that faces, what they call the 100-mile view. That might be a bit of a stretch, but it's still a gorgeous view. And we always have wonderful sunsets that are like orange and pink and blue, and they're just lovely. And there's something about grabbing a Bloody Mary and just sitting at that table by the window and just gazing out. And seeing, the rest of the town and all that. That's very relaxing for me. And then another place is walking around the cemetery. I love, it's a good it's a very calming place. It's a very good vibe. It's very, beautiful, and you get good exercise, fresh air, and it also has amazing views of the whole town.
Oh, it does. When you stand right up at the top of the cemetery there and look over, it's just, my favorite thing to do in Virginia City is not feed the wild horses. That's my favorite thing to not do, is feed the wild horses and pet the wild horses that will let me do it. There's only a couple. They'll still all come up to me, but there's only a couple that will actually let me touch them, and that's just beautiful. But yeah, and sitting on the balcony of the coffee, the roasting.
Yeah.
When you sit on the balcony at the roasting house, you've got that whole what's the word? Panorama. That's it. I just wanted to say hello to someone who's popped in. Auntie Mama's Kitchen. I found Auntie Mama's Kitchen the other day. I can't remember how. Oh, yes, I can, from another channel I was watching. And I popped in to say, well, what a breath of fresh air she is. She's on her channel. She's just there. She's just talking, and she made me smile and laugh. So if anybody wants to have a smile and laugh and just a giggle and be entertained by Auntie Mama's Kitchen, go over and check her out. She's awesome. And I see Crow of Judas is in here. Hello, Crow. I sent you messages, mate, and your messages didn't get through to me, no. But if they were talking messages, I think I know why. Messenger has changed the way you send the talking messages. You used to just hit the button and then talk. Now you've got to hold your finger on the button. So maybe you've done it the old-fashioned way. But anyway, you can talk to me, Crow. Right. I've got to thank everybody with my animation. So I'm trying to think here. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to think. I'll just play these two in succession because it's a story. Okay, that's what I'll do. So first, we have Enzo being abducted by Crow. Let's go.
No, please.
I love that.
Oh no, and it worked. He's gone. Enzo,
he got abducted. Wow.
He's got abducted. Oh no. And we're left with a vision of
You're back. How was it?
Now, you all might be fascinated to find out what happened to Enzo after he was abducted. So here we go. Oh, stop. There you go. So thank you much for that, Linda and Jason from Just Jason Keto. That was awesome. Yeah, I had fun making those. So there you go. So that's what happened. There you go. Oh dear. Should have been hot dogs with mayo. Oh, dancing hot dogs, possibly. I won't tell you what Crow wanted it to be. He didn't get his wish in the end. I decided to leave poor old Enzo alone. Party with pizza instead.
For protecting my end. Yeah, that's
protecting your end. That's right. Dear. Right, let's see. What else have I got to do? We've got 10 minutes left, guys, and then I'm going to call it a day and go and make some bird soup and probably throw the dog out in the backyard. Yeah. Oh, Grayson report. Hello, gorgeous lady. Hey, if anybody wants to know, Lisa, you can just do #share and then it should bring up your channel. Lisa's got a channel called The Grayson Report, and she talks about all things paranormal, not normal, anywhere from ghosts to Bigfoots to whatever. It's a fun channel. It's just a place where she does a narrative on what she's found. For example, if she's been, what's come up recently in the press, all that sort of thing. It's a fun channel. And if you want to have fun and watch Lisa, she's just gorgeous. So there's, and Tanya's put up the link as well. So there you go. But yeah, check out Lisa, and hopefully Lisa will do some kind of collaboration. We were actually I was on I popped in to the Nerd Report the other day, Lewis, who was doing a live, and he said anyone who wants to call in, so I thought I'll call in. He was talking about something else, but the conversation went from that to completely different. But I was talking about Lisa, and Lisa came in at the end, and then Lewis left Lisa and I alone, and we were having a great old chat. Then Lewis came in and said, "That's it now, dinner time," and turned the live off. But yeah, we were having a great time talking about different things. So yeah, she's really fun to watch. So if you want to watch something that's upbeat, go watch Lisa. She's awesome. Yes, Crow, did you see? I did send you a message. I'm over 1,000K subscribers now. Woohoo! So thank you to anyone who's new in my chat today, that hasn't seen any of our lives before. They're usually quite mental. But often, actually, there was one thing I was going to get Enzo to talk about because it was Easter, but then I left it too late because I was doing research into Easter and where it all came from, back in the pagan days and all that sort of thing. And it was talking about, if I still got it open, I probably closed it down. It was talking about a particular time of the year and what it's called, and I think I've lost it. Just a minute. I'll see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. It is called the vernal equinox.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Vernal? The vernal equinox. So this time of the year, that's what occurs. And it was the time for, of course, the pagan ritual of life, rebirth, because spring, rebirth, life, the god, what was her name? Sounds like Easter and it's not Easter. I'm still working on it, guys. Give me a second. I don't know how you did, maybe Esther. Eostre. Estor. That's how I'd probably say it. But from that is where they derived so it's said that's where they derived the word Easter from the goddess of dawn, and she comes out at springtime. So there you go. But yeah, they were talking about that, and I thought, I wonder what happens. So I want to look into what happens at that time of the year, earth-wise, because that was pretty interesting. But there you go. And I was going to ask Enzo, do you know anything about it? But I left my run too long because Enzo often talks about sciencey type stuff. Taylor, that's what he does. Hi, Joseph. Yeah, I'm only got a few minutes left. 6 minutes, Joseph. Who's the special? Oh, sorry, Crow. I thought you'd seen her. Crow keeps saying, "Who's the special guest? Who's the special guest?" And I'm like, what are you on about? But yeah, that's Taylor, Crow. Taylor Hamby lives in Virginia City, and works at the 4th Ward School, and she works at the Sutro Tunnel, and she's a historian, a journalist, and an all-round great gal. And she has an awesome lot of pets. Yes. But yeah, so Taylor's going to be one of the presenters at my event, Crow. So there you go. There you go. Oh, where's it gone? There you go. Crow says he remembers Ron talking about her. Yes, Ron was quite taken.
Ron's awesome.
Yeah, Ron's a cutie.
Shout out to Ron.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, they've been very, very busy doing their own thing, I guess. Well, bugger off then, Crow. Go on then. Piss off. just go back to bed or whatever it is.
Maybe he means go to the event.
Oh, don't go then, Crow. I thought he just meant, well, I'll have to go now then, as in he's going. I love you, Crow. Oh, Maisie's from Scotland. She's saying, we dance naked around the garden this time of the year with fairy people.
The season.
Yeah, that's what Crow says. I would love you to come, Crow. Yeah, we wouldn't have to tell anyone, but I think the minute you opened your mouth and spoke, everyone, you'd give it away. But so I was looking into that because I'm sort of looking into the other sorts of things. I'm still working on it should have been finished ages ago, my Mackie Mansion. I've done a few Mackie Mansion episodes, but I wanted to do this one on the superintendents that lived there. I wanted to delve a little bit more into the men who died in the mine there. It's a rabbit hole. I've got all these things open, and then I look, like I said, the Janus brothers, like that was a name that said they were a superintendent. And I thought, nah. And the more I've looked, no, I don't think they were. They may well have stayed at the mansion, possibly, but they were there for a different reason. So I'm trying to get through all that, and then down this rabbit hole of like more information and more things I didn't know, and I don't know where to stop. So I'm just going to have to stop.
It never stops, Karen. Take it from me. Once you get bitten by the bug of Comstock history, it's
not
terminal.
ending. Yeah. And that's what I mean. So I'll finish putting together this one, and I'll put it there because people are going to visit the Mackie Mansion. So it'd be nice for you to know where the mines were. Like I've got a little map of what it was back then, like a street view, like a Google map of the 18 with the current, like what buildings are currently there on that map, so people can work out. Oh, right, that's that. So you can realise, and I've got a beautiful photo. I think I got it on the Virginia City Facebook. The view, if you were standing in front of the school and looking down at the Mackie Mansion, it's a view from that standing point back in the day, and you can see the Gould and Curry silver mine, see Mackie Mansion off it, and you can see Fourth Ward School right at the very back. And it's like, wow, it's a great photo. I wish there's probably somewhere where you can go and there's massive amounts of photos flick through and look at. I'd be in heaven. I'd just be looking.
Well, have you gone through the Western Nevada photo collection online?
I have a little bit, but I haven't delved too deeply. I should go back in and have another look. Because when I go into that website, I'm generally looking for something in particular, so I'll type that in. But I don't know. What's Maisie saying? It's great fun. The only problem with being naked is I step on my boobs every now and again. Oh, Maisie. Yeah.
So, Crow, if you need a tour of the Sutro Tunnel, you can go to the sutrotunnel.org and see when our tours are.
Yeah. You can come all the way from you and Mandy. You know, it could be something to look forward to, something to get you enthusiastic. And I'd love it if Crow could get to us. But we can get a spinning wheel for your channel, Crow. You know, it worked well for another channel once. Just spin that wheel. Who's going to get what? Who's going to be a legendary something or other? Yeah, go, Taylor. Sorry.
But in the meantime, there's a ton of really cool videos about the Sutro Tunnel. Karen did one of my favorites. She let me blather on as we walked around the site. There's another one on Ask Jeff Williams. That one was a little more recent, and actually he did two, and in one of them he went into the tunnel before we restored it, so when it was still a little collapsed, and then he came back after we restored it, so you can see kind of the before and after. So there's some pretty cool videos on YouTube in the meantime.
Oh, yeah, no, it's an awesome place, and I was lucky to. I'm allowed to say I went in it. Can I say I went in? I think I can. The gate was opened magically for me one day at the Sutro Tunnel, and I was fortunate and extremely lucky to have a look on the inside of the work they've done, and it's just a fascinating place. I'm looking forward to getting back there too when I come again. I want to walk around there again, and just, without a big crowd. So I'll sneak in past all the security cameras with Taylor.
You don't have to sneak in. Yeah, you've been a great supporter. And happy to welcome you back.
You could do a Bring an Australian to Work day or something. Just
sure, yeah, we'll make up a holiday.
Yeah.
By the time you come back, we will have done some pretty cool. We have some pretty cool restoration going on right now, so it'll look a little different and better next time.
Enzo, anything you want to say? Because people are upset.
More Enzo.
Yeah, poor Enzo. He's not getting the word in edgeways. Maybe Enzo just wants to have a break. He just wants to sit there and look pretty. You're on mute. See, guys, it wasn't my fault. He was muted.
Yeah, I've been talking the whole time.
Hey, Glenda. Oh, gosh. Well, guys, let's see. Where are we? Oh, I've gone over the 2-hour mark. Someone asked me the other day, is there a time limit? I think it was Kibba asked. And I said, no, it's not a time limit. I just think 2 hours is a nice round figure for a live stream. And that way you guys can go watch somebody else after. Or you can, if you're here in Australia, you can now go, it's Easter Sunday. I think shops are shut again. That's one thing that I hate about public holidays, that shops shut. Why would people that work in a shop want to have a day off? But if there's something you want to go and do, because I know it's Saturday night, Saturday just after lunchtime or afternoon in America. So, and it's Sunday here. What time is it here? 9:00 Sunday morning where I am in Queensland. So go do stuff. That's why I'll keep it to 2 hours, just that it's, you don't have to sit here and listen to me bang on all day long. Besides, I get tired. I'm getting old. Hey, Nightman Nation, you'll have to do a rewatch. We're about to go. We're about to leave. But thank you to anybody in here who's a new subscriber, because, again, I did I've gone over the 1,000K mark. So awesome. And thank you so much. And to anyone interested in the event in July in Virginia City, which Taylor will be at, she'll be one of the people, along with Dustin Parry, Dave Schrader, Janice Oberding, CL. Oh, CL was supposed to come too. She's forgotten as well. Right, that's it. Everyone's going to get a smack. But CL Thomas will be, Sidekicks Paranormal, Joe Curtis. Have I forgotten anybody? Janice Oberding. It's pretty packed full. So full packed filled. Oh, it's very full. It's a very full weekend. It'll be lots of fun, and I really do hope it goes well. And I hope that some people turn up and we can all hang out. I said, Taylor, if the tickets don't sell, oh well, it just means I have to fund to the ones that did. And I'm still coming. And God damn it, Dustin Parry and Dave Schrader will still be coming too, because either way, I have to pay them even if it gets cancelled. So I can tell you what, they'll be spending a weekend with Karen, Taylor, and Enzo, if Enzo can still make it. I mean, we don't know, but that's all right. I think Enzo could still come if he wanted to. That'd be all right.
Whatever I like.
That's right. You can do. But either way, I'm having a bloody good weekend on the 12th to the 14th. But I really hope this works, because I think everybody that comes along will just love it. I really do. The people that are coming to present are all great people. Enzo, Taylor, I'm just so excited for it. And for Virginia City, because if this gets people in and you realise what wonderful, fun things there are to do about around Virginia City that don't necessarily involve the paranormal. I mean, there's the mines and there's restaurants and there's wild horses and deer and raccoons and crazy people. It's an awesome place. So I'm going to say goodbye, everybody, and thank you again so much for being here today with the three of us. And I'll see you next week as per usual. And I'm pretty sure I've got to pull my finger out and do a members only live stream because I do have members now, and that was a promise. So I better do it. And Catherine, I swear to God, Catherine counts down how many times I say goodbye before I actually do it. So I'm on the 4th time now. Now I'll be on the 5th, Catherine. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. That would be awesome for me. That will help me. All right, I'm going. Thank you, Taylor.
And so great to see you.
Yeah,
thank you
lovely
for having me. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Enzo. And I'll see you all soon, guys. Bye.